So what I want to talk about is how to land the frickin' plane and how to get the actual result when it comes to building your social skills, when it comes to making money, being happier, having more energy, more focus, living your dreams, whatever it is that you want to push into. I want to talk about what it means to actually land the plane. Now, what do I mean by land the plane? What I mean is that it always seems like in any field, there's the majority of people that are kind of dabblers. They kind of dabble into it a little bit, and they take an interest, or maybe they like to watch podcasts about the topic. And then there's people that are actually getting the results. And then there's all these conversations about, like, does this really work or not? Because these people may have results, but then these ones don't have results, and why is that? And all this kind of stuff. And the truth is, the teachers don't have the courage to just lay it out that you freaking suck, you don't know what the heck you're doing, and they're telling you what to do, but you're not listening. And the reason they don't want to say that is because then they get cut out of context, where they're like, they're blaming you for not getting it, but it's really because what they're teaching isn't good enough. And that may or may not be true. I mean, that's really up to the individual. Some cases true, some cases not. But what I will say is that unless you understand what it is that I'm going to teach you here, you're never going to get the result. That's just a fact, okay? So whatever information you're using, you're not going to get the result unless you do what I teach you here. The main thing that you have to understand is that you have to have what I'd call a land the plane mentality, which means that when you see the actual result that you want, you don't quit until you get that actual result. And you just keep working on it and tweaking things and getting advice, getting mentors, taking actions, just saying, like, it is do or die, I am getting that result. Now, what is the single most important thing in order to land the plane and to have that do or die mentality? What I would say is that it is total, utter focus. And it is completely clearing your schedule and clearing the clutter and managing distractions. You can't get rid of distractions in most cases, but you can manage them. Just managing every single distraction and then being able to do what you would call deep work. So let me give an example. When I was studying online marketing, I would see these different people who have done online marketing campaigns, and some of them are multimillionaires. Now, we've all seen the stereotypes of people, driving around in the fly car, or maybe private plane, whatever, and they're flossing, they're saying, hey, you can be like me, I've got a Rolex watch, you could be a millionaire too, and so on and so forth. We know those stereotypes. And when you look at those stereotypes, you think to yourself, well, first question you have to ask is, like, is that their real gear that they're flossing and whatnot? And there could be scams of that. But clearly there's some people who did learn how to do online marketing campaigns. I saw that, right? Because I was a client of that. I was a student of John Carlton, a student of Dan Kennedy, a student of a great mentor of mine named Eben Pagan, who used to go under a pseudonym David D'Angelo in Dating Advice. Like, these were people who I studied. And so I'm sitting there saying, like, could I get a multi-million-dollar paycheck by studying these guys? Like, is that something that could actually happen? Or a mentor of mine named Mystery was a guy who would teach me social skills. And I would go meet up with Mystery, and we would go to bars and clubs, and I would just watch him clean up. Like, it was some of the most shocking experiences of my life, watching Mystery just go around a bar or club and having, the entire club just thinking he's the coolest person there, making friends with everybody. Most attractive people are begging to come off on adventures with him. And I'm watching this, I'm like, how do I actually do that? Like, how do you actually do that? I'm not in shape right now, but I remember at one point I read a book by Mark Sisson called The Primal Blueprint, and I weighed about 210 pounds. And I actually I looked at that book, and I went down to 133 pounds, 6.4% body fat. And I'll probably have to do that again at some point. I've actually just torn my ACL. I've got to take some weight off of it after I do surgery, and probably even before. So you probably wind up seeing me get lean again. But I literally went from 210 pounds to 133 pounds at one point, just by reading the book, The Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson, and studying it. And it was the same thing with looking at Eckhart Tolle, right? I look at people like Eckhart Tolle, and he would talk about being present to the moment, getting in the now. And I was like, how do you actually do that? Like, how do you actually just, like, get in the now? My brain's just thinking all the time. What does it even mean that you would just stop thinking and still have awareness, and so on and so forth? Or another one would be Anthony Robbins. I used to go to Tony Robbins events, and I'd see him just smashing the stage. And I'm a younger person. I'm watching Tony smash the stage in front of all these people, and he's just so dominant on stage. I'm looking at this, I'm like, how do I actually do that? It's like, how do I be that guy? And that's what I'm thinking. So maybe there's some areas that you've seen. Maybe you've seen real life, interactions that I've done, or online, or things like that, or maybe you see me do public speaking, or maybe you see me do product launches, or have these really big crowds, or things like that. You might have seen me, maybe you've been to one of my live events where I do public speaking for 18 hours a day straight, and my energy seems to be only building, even though I'm going nuts. And you're thinking, like, what's the voodoo? Like, what's the voodoo? Like, how are you doing this? Right? And I get that. Like, the things, I'm 42, so it would make sense that I would have learned some of these things if I put my mind to it. Well, what's the main common denominator between all of these things? It's just complete, total, utter focus to land the plane. It is a non-acceptance that you're not going to get the result. Now, this is a sort of conflicting thing because the major thing that I discuss, which I frankly learned this from people like Eckhart Tolle or the book The Tao Te Ching, the Bible reinforces this in its own way. What I learned was a total love for the process. So basically what I did was I have an initial, like just a total, utter lust for the result. I'm talking a lust for the result that it is like a single-minded laser focus that every fiber of my being is oriented around getting that result. But later what I realized, and this is what Eckhart Tolle taught me, was he would give the example of the archer, like the master archer, the Zen archer. And the Zen archer is not even doing archery for the purpose of hitting the target. The Zen archer is doing archery for the purpose of loving every single movement from the draw to the focus. And that in and of itself is the goal. They teach that in the Bhagavad Gita. You should look that up as well. So the Zen archer, you know, in a perfect example of it, I'm sure there's many different examples, they wound up having the best aim of anybody because the end is the process itself. But as a result, you are so utterly focused on every last aspect of what it is that you're doing. It is its own purpose, and that is what winds up making you potentially the best in the world. So for me, what it is like I said, it is completely understanding the result that it is that I'm going for and saying I'm going to get there no matter what, to the point that it can get a little bit crazy. I could probably make other videos to where I even talk about downsides of that, because like I get to the point where like in my own psyche, I'm like, I am the result. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this. Like in my mind, I imagine that I'm like this, like the galaxy before it was even had the Big Bang, like this ultimate density. Like I am only the result. That is all that I am. I am this, and like that in my mind. It's like this like thin like needle that can just fly through any obstacle. It just moves through anything. It cannot be stopped. So that's that idea, right? Or Bruce Lee will say, be like water, my friend, right? And he takes that from the Tao Te Ching. It is a book called Jeet Kune Do, which you've got to read, by the way. You got to read the Tao Te Ching. And if you haven't yet, I don't know what you're doing. But okay, just keep not having read that. That's fine. Okay, right? Read it. So the main point being that, and read it many times, just like the best of books, you got to. But anyway, the point being is that he would say, be like water, my friend, right? So it's like, almost imagine yourself like this like thin needle that can just go through anything, or like water that will just get to anything. Like it just pure raw gravity moving to the goal. And that's the intention. But then combining that with this total, utter freedom of outcome, because every micro breath of oxygen, every micro word out of your mouth is its own end. Total, utter presence and focus on what it is that you're doing, so that the outcome is both that long-term outcome that you're going for, but every little millimeter along the way is what you're doing, right? We're sitting out here in Big Sur. Los Angeles is back that way. We're on the Pacific Coast Highway. Beautiful day. And we know that we're going there, but we're not going to get there by just obsessing only over LA, because then we're going to crash the car. So you've got to actually enjoy the drive itself. But then again, if we don't know that we're going to LA, we could wind up anywhere, right? So it's that paradox of knowing where you're going in general and embodying that result. It is everything. And having a very high standard about that, not like your derpy friends that just like are basically dabblers and they start things and don't finish them and things like that. You have to have a high standard for finishing things. But then what you wind up doing is that you also are really, really engaged with the present. So then what you wind up doing is, as you're engaging with the present, you've got to clear your schedule completely to be able to focus on things. So here'd be an example. One of my major areas that I want to get good at was public speaking. I shouldn't even say that I did want to get good at. I want to continue to get better at, because it is a journey of being a lifelong student, okay? There was a great judo master, I believe, that wanted to be buried in his white belt to represent being a lifelong student. The journey is never done. The journey is its own reward. And so for me with public speaking, for example, I do free events, okay? I do free events all over the country. And people will say to me, why do you do this? And then I actually just made another recent video where I talked about people like, oh, I know what you're doing, gonna make some sales, and things like that. And I make some sales there. But 99% of what I'm doing is me giving content. And and frankly, with me being gone and on the road, I come back tired from these things. I'm completely spent. I don't have time to build my systems at home. It's actually a net loss financially. But here's where the win is. The win is that being one of the top public speakers of all time is its greatest reward. You have to understand that the orgasmic feeling of being on a stage and in your mastery and in that state of euphoria to where you are embodying heaven on earth by every single moment having that quality, being in that environment is priceless. Now, why do I set up free tours? I've done things that are a little crazy. I've done things like 4-day free events. 4 full-day free events. And I get in there, I'll do like Thursday night, Friday night, and then all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And I'll get in there and I just start going. And I will be very, I typically have a curriculum that I do that's a process that I take you through. And that way the specific results that you want, you're gonna get those, and it's very structured and iterated and systematized and very, very well ordered and laid out. But then what I like to do is I like to go off the script and I'm experimenting. And I'm trying everything from different voices, different tones. Sometimes I go in there and I just experiment with speaking really, really fast. Can I speak like a machine gun, like a fire hose at the fastest rate? Then I do these other ones where I'm all chill and I'm like, hey guys, yeah, yeah. You know, I put myself like it's not where I'm at right now, but I put myself as a very relaxed state. And I'm like, how relaxed can I get? Other ones I want to be obnoxious and belligerent and shocking. And then I say to myself, how much can I do that? You might have seen me do experiments where, like, you know, I'll bring my girlfriend half naked onto a live broadcast and just start screaming, like, you know, for an hour, just to make like the weirdest thing you've ever seen. Like, why is that guy's girlfriend half naked on a YouTube live? And he just screams and goes crazy. And then you'll even see me like doing random jokes where I play different characters and go all nuts, and I'm completely, utterly in the character. And that character is like something that I found in the back of my mind that I like allowed to come through, or things like that. I've done seminars where I picked one single word and then riffed off of that word for 4 or 5 hours straight. I've done seminars where I just focus on making the audience cry. I make myself cry. I've done videos that are coming, you'll see a bunch of them coming out, where like almost every video, at some point I just start to cry. And I'm just like, why not? Like, there is something in me that, you know, I tend to have this feeling where I feel like I can peer through the veil and see something truly beautiful, something truly divine, and I can see through the veil and see that. Why not let that veil open? You'll see my pupils like wide open and see that, be brought to tears from that, let that through me, share that with the person watching it, share that with you, and let you have that experience. Let me try do the most psychedelic, off-the-wall content. Let me try doing very, very structured content. In my paid events, I tend to be very, very structured, results-oriented content, to where I'm focused on a specific result, maybe making money or getting better social skills or getting more energy or getting more focus, and doing very, very structured, laid out, iterated seminars on that. So I'm always trying different things. Now, what is the key denominator here? It is the clearing of my schedule. It is me saying I'm clearing my schedule completely to go and focus on this. And it is very, very hard to compete with somebody who has made it their mission, like a holy mission, you know, to go from city to city to city, just cranking out events and even doing them for free. And then the fact that they do them for free lets them be experimental, even though, of course, when I do that, I have also a part that I don't post on YouTube, but a specific process that's results oriented that I say for the people that attend. But you see my point, right? You can't compete with that very, very easily. You know, I'm to the point where if I poorly manage my sleep and I get up on stage, I'm gaining energy. Like, I've learned different processes. I'll probably make other videos about this, about how to actually gain energy. Like, you haven't slept in days, you're like a wreck, and then you go on stage for 12 hours, and then your energy is restored, you are healed, and you're loaded with energy. That's weird, right? These are things that you learn from repetition. So take my schedule that I have coming up. I'm doing free events in Philadelphia, New York City, Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Austin, Texas, Boston, Washington, D.C., San Diego, Los Angeles. I'm doing all Florida, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, Miami. I'll be doing them all over the country in other cities. Okay, if you want to come to one of these, click the link below and I'll take you through that process that I talked about. Completely change your life. I'll wind up sending you a free course with all the powerful fundamentals that I talk about here, but laid out perfectly. You know, I talked about some of the more organized stuff I do. I'll send that to you as soon as you sign up, okay? Click the link below. You're gonna like it. You know what? If you can't even make it out to your free event, do a free call with us. I'll send that course anyway. Click the link below. Do it now while you think of it. You see the idea. So me being on stage that much is gonna give me that kind of mastery. And the main key is I've got to clear my schedule. So the question is, what's important to you? What is actually important to you? And this is a challenge that I see with a lot of my wealthiest clients. I deal with a lot of wealthy people. And they'll say to me, okay, well, I want to get the skill. And then they think that in, say, 20 minutes a week, they can have that skill if they hire the top coach. But the reality is that hiring the top coach is one component of getting the skill. Having mentors is one component. Having a mastermind group is one component. Having accountability is one component. Having dedication is one component. It is also completely clearing your schedule in order to have the time to do what it is you want to do. So what I'd say to you is that if you really want to make progress, first thing you could do is clear a night to come out to a free event. Clear a night to do that. Or clear, 15 minutes to do a free call with my team. Click the link below. Or clear 3 hours to go through the free course that I created. Click the link below. Do that. Just click it. And what you're going to find is that if you do that, you're saying to yourself, look, I actually cleared some time. Then what you would do, though, and I'm sorry to tell you, you're not going to like this, but it doesn't stop there. Then the next thing that you've got to do is you've got to start deciding what it is that you want to be truly great at, what kind of result it is that you truly want, and you've got to clear the time to just think, to look at the meta level strategy of what it is that you're doing, so you're not just flailing about in this kind of purposeless action. And then what you've got to do is you've got to clear the time to sharpen the sword. And you're going to find that there's so many people around you that are trying to get your time and trying to distract you. And I'm sure they're loving people, and I'm sure they've got a lot of great qualities about them, and God bless them. Really, God bless them. But if you truly want to land the plane and truly be somebody who gets the results, you've got to remove people like that out of your life like a cancer. And that's unfortunate because at every level, people are at their own kind of spiritual evolution, and they tend to be addicted like drug addicts to staying there. And in seeing you elevating yourself, they're going to realize that you're not going to get to be co-enablers in the drug addiction of poverty or mediocrity, or even at an 8 out of 10, the drug addiction of the 8 out of 10. The drug addiction of the 9 out of 10. You could even say the drug addiction of the 10 out of 10 because there's that which is beyond. And so, depending on your definition, right? So you see the main point that I'm talking about. Everybody that's addicted at that point is going to say, no, let's keep going and doing all these things, right? Somebody who's drug addicted at the low level, they want to gossip, they want to crap talk, they want to take drugs, drink alcohol, do a bunch of dumb stuff, excessively. And so, they're going to waste time at a low level. Somebody who's addicted at the 8 out of 10, they're in their little addiction. They see you clearing time and focusing, they can tell that you're going to elevate. Somebody who's even addicted at the 10 out of 10, they're like, look, we're super rich, we're going around in mega yachts, we're doing all this stuff. That's still an addiction because there's that which lies beyond. So everything is an addiction from people that don't want to see you ascend. And so what you have to do is say, whether it's the people, the foods, the media, the energy sources, the input, the lifestyles, the habit, it's all an addiction to drugs. You easily look down at a heroin addict and say they're addicted to drugs when you yourself are a heroin addict. It's just not as bad, not as obvious, and is socially condoned because it's viewed as normal. But look at the crap from 2020 onwards that is viewed as normal. So why don't you first of all raise your standards about what it is that you want? Next up, don't say to yourself that you're miserable because you don't have what you want right now, but rather connect to the present moment by, here's the steps. First of all, recognize the pain that you have around being addicted to poverty or poorness, general poorness or low level of anything, or recognize the pain that you get from being stuck and addicted at a level 8. Raise your standards, even if you're at a 10. Everything's perfect, but you do not know that which is beyond. Then raise your standards beyond that. You think Bruce Lee was just at a 10? Read Jeet Kune Do, you'll see what you think at the end of that. He went beyond. So this idea of going beyond and letting go of the drug addiction of just being here, that clearing of time is going to threaten everybody and everything that wants your time, that wants your focus, that wants your energy, that wants your co-enablement for their addiction. And you've just got to clear. Me doing a free event is me saying, I'm here to work on my speaking. But is it really me there working on my speaking? Is it? It is. But it's not, because it is also an active meditation. It is also the way that you connect to the divine. It is the way that you ascend beyond the 10, because it is using that to sharpen the sword and using that process of doing, in my case, the free events, using that to connect to a place where every single word has value. Every breath has value. Connecting at a deeper level to the present moment. Being in a drug-like trance that goes beyond the euphoria of any drug because you generated it, it is real, and you earned it. Unearned consciousness is worthless. This is real. It is finding that path to mastery. I'm gonna end this with like such a heavy note, okay? Such a heavy note. As a part of my spiritual beliefs, I'm just gonna share them with you. Doesn't mean they're right. I'm just sharing with you how I experience the world. Even my hero, Kobe Bryant, when he left the world early, that devastated his family, other people that died along with him, his friends, devastated myself. But at the same time, I viewed it that he had walked that path to mastery at such a level, because I used to go see Kobe at almost every Staples Center game as low down to the front as I could. I believe that he had actually passed the test and that God called him back early. That was how I saw it. And when Kobe passed, I had one of the strangest experiences where it was like I've never felt myself, or rarely ever felt myself get that present. It was like being in a trance. And I didn't hear like some weird voice or anything like, hey, Owen, here's what happened. But it was like a deep knowing, like he passed the test. He went home early. Like Bruce Lee, he passed the test. He went home early. And it was this weird feeling that, and death should be avoided and human life should be treasured and helicopters should be examined. And I'm not saying anything crazy here about the topic of death or anything unusual. I'm moderate with that. But what I'm saying is that there's something beyond this, that really all this crap is just like a drug addiction to something so beautiful, so far beyond any of this. But that doesn't mean to just abandon life on earth. Kobe didn't pass the test by abandoning life on earth. His journey was basketball. And watching that is one of the most beautiful blessings of my life, was getting to see Kobe Bryant. And he was somebody who actually taught me about the power of having that intent, but also being in the present moment. And seeing him in his final game scoring 60 points was the ultimate version of that. You should go watch that. So that's a lot of what it is that I'm trying to get at you here, is a sort of a personal enlightenment through mastery of the craft. And understanding that this goes deeper than just saying, like, yes, you want a lot of money. You want six packs, abs, go for it. I went down 6% body fat. Didn't really get the best abs, but I was lean. You want to go, live in the big fat mansion or have the diamond jewelry or, go hook up with the amazing person or whatever it is. That's all amazing. Like, those are all fun rides in the park that God has put here for us to enjoy. And I think that is showing respect to God by actually, or our creator, whatever you believe, respect to the laws of physics, call it, to go enjoy that to the fullest, right? Not to be in apathy, right? That is true spirituality in my mind, or even true if you're atheist or just like an objectivist or somebody who's doesn't resonate with that, truly loving the world or the physical world or laws of physics, to just go experience it. So go do that. Really do audits of what you're getting out of life now, and do audits of every single thing about life, your current life that you have, and say to yourself, is this really worth it compared to the beautiful things that I really want? I try to show you me shooting videos out doing beautiful things that I think are worth doing as an example of that. So do that audit for yourself, but then beyond that, say to yourself, how do I just clear time? How do I clear everything out of my way? The way that I learned marketing wasn't by doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It was by literally moving to an apartment building in Hawaii with an oceanfront view, not unlike this actually, and studying marketing for 12 hours a day for 3 years, doing nothing but living, breathing, and thinking about marketing. The way that I worked on social skills was going out 4 to 7 days a week, usually 7, often 8 hours a day, but 4 as well, and just putting in the reps and putting myself in a million different situations and getting the point that I'd seen every possible outcome and loving that aspect of life of being able to be a step ahead of the whole game because you've seen everything so many times, and that mastery of it brings you in this hyper-present state. And it's the joy of being able to pay that forward and then showing it to other people so that you come in as a student. But this is part of the hero's journey, according to Joseph Campbell, which you can read up on that. This idea of, you find, you have, he called it roughly like this. It was like you have the calling, and you kind of think about if you're going to take the call, you have an adventure, some bad things happen, you find a mentor, you conquer the dragon, but the real journey ends when you bring that wisdom and that gold back to the tribe. That's the real beauty of it. And so this is what I'm saying is clear the time, first of all, get clear on what's important to you and truly audit your life. Clear the time, remove all the distraction. It is that deep, utter focus, that deep work that gets you the result. From there, conquer the dragon, slay the dragon, continue to slay the dragon. Don't take on the identity as an eternal dragon slayer, an eternal student, but also in that process, bring back the gold, bring back the wisdom for other people, and enjoy the joy of sharing that. That is a real life that's worth living to me. Enjoy life, go out and get those things you want, but bring that process into it, which is your own personal enlightenment through that process that is so beautiful. As you see me, I'm sitting here going back on tour. Let me tell you how much I love the tour. I even tore my ACL completely this year. I'm going to go into surgery. I'm like, no, I want to go do a huge tour before I even go into surgery. I delayed the surgery for over half a year. And I'm just so excited. Again, I'm going to be out in Philadelphia, New York City, Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Austin, Boston, Washington, D.C., San Diego, Los Angeles, all of Florida, team all over the world. Make sure that you click the link below. Come and enjoy with me this journey. But it's not just about my journey and me practicing, it's about you learning from that, but also about me showing that to you. And when I meet you in person, we're going to work in so much detail on your communication, social skills, public speaking, the way that you're communicating, the way that you're showing up, making money, having more energy, getting tapped in, getting more focus, auditing your life. And I'm gonna show you all the crutches that you have. I'm gonna show you all the places you have low standards. And I'm really gonna rub a pie in your face that's really gonna hurt you. But I'm gonna do it in a way that's gonna wake you up. And I'm gonna do it in a way where you're gonna get results. Have you ever seen students of mine that are in a room and I'm hardening them? Those are the students that I love the most. And those are the ones that if I were to pull out my phone right now, they're blowing me up because we make friends after if I'm that rough on them. They're blowing me up with videos and pictures of all the amazing things they're doing and people they're meeting and so on and so forth. And you see it and your mind's blown away. And that's because they took the calling, they got the mentor, they love the journey, and they come back with the gold. And that's what I want for you. So I'm very, 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 very excited to meet you in person. If you want to learn more also about the fundamentals of what I'm talking about here, the fundamentals of mastery, click the link below as well. I have a free course that I do, and it's also something that I think could prepare you if you're unable to make it to a free event right now, but also something that you should look at to prepare you to come to a free event. So click the link below, and that's another way that you could get put up to speed as well. And I'm going to be coming back a lot more. I'm probably going to even shoot another quick video as I go up the street on my way back to LA. Love you very much. I'll be back with more soon to help you on your journey to mastery. I'm here for you, and we're going to crush it. Peace.